Good afternoon. This is All India Radio. I'm Valsa Williams, and with me is Abhishek Mukhopadhyay with the Midday News. The headlines: Prime Minister Narendra Modi commissions India's first indigenous aircraft carrier INS Vikrant in Kochi, Kerala. Also unveils new naval ensign befitting the rich Indian maritime heritage. Prime Minister says INS Vikrant an example of government's thrust to making India's defence sector self-reliant and tribute to the rising spirits of India. Prime Minister dedicates projects worth around 3,800 crore rupees at Mangaluru in Karnataka. Union Agriculture Minister Narendra Singh Tomar inaugurates Regional Office of Coconut Development Board at Junagadh on World Coconut Day. India and the UAE reiterate commitment to achieve goal of $100 billion of bilateral trade in next 5 years. Home Minister Amit Shah to reach Thiruvananthapuram this evening on a 2-day visit to Kerala. In Gujarat, 6 persons killed and 6 injured after a car mows down a group of devotees. The United States says UN report on human rights violations in China's Xinjiang province reaffirms that Beijing is committing genocide against the Uyghurs. And in Japan Open Badminton, H.S. Pranoy loses to Taiwan's Cho Tien-chan in a grueling encounter in the quarterfinals. Prime Minister Narendra Modi commissioned the first indigenous aircraft carrier as INS Vikrant today. During the event, the Prime Minister also unveiled the new naval ensign Nishan, doing away with the colonial past and befitting the rich Indian maritime heritage. Speaking on the occasion, the Prime Minister said every Indian is witnessing the sunrise of a new future. This event, being held on the INS Vikrant, is a tribute to the rising spirits of India on the world horizon. He said, "We are seeing a manifestation of the dream of the freedom fighters, where they envisioned a capable and strong India." The Prime Minister exclaimed that Vikrant is huge, massive and vast. It is distinguished. It is also special. Vikrant is not just a warship. It is a testament to the hard work, talent, influence and commitment of India in the 21st century. He said Vikrant is a unique reflection of India becoming self-reliant.
आजादी के अमृत महोत्सव का अतुलनीय अमृत है विक्रांत। आत्मनिर्भर होते भारत का अद्वितीय प्रतिबिंब है विक्रांत। ये हर भारतीय के लिए गर्व और गौरव का अनमोल अवसर है। ये हर भारतीय का मान, स्वाभिमान बढ़ाने वाला अवसर है। मैं इसके लिए हर एक देशवासी को बधाई देता हूं।
Mr. Modi acknowledged and praised the contribution of the Navy, engineers of Cochin shipyard, scientists and especially the workers who worked on the project. He also noted the happy and auspicious festival of Onam that is adding even more happiness to the occasion.
इस ऐतिहासिक अवसर पर मैं भारतीय नौसेना का कोचिन शिपयार्ड के सभी इंजीनियर, वैज्ञानिकों और मेरे श्रमिक भाई बहनों का अभिनंदन करता हूं, जिन्होंने इस सपने को साकार किया। केरला की पुण्य भूमि पर देश को ये उपलब्धि एक ऐसे समय पर मिली है जब ओणम का पवित्र पर्व भी चल रहा है। मैं सभी देशवासियों को इस अवसर पर ओणम की हार्दिक शुभकामनाएं भी देता हूं।
Explaining the massive proportions of the carrier, the Prime Minister said it is like a floating city. It produces electricity that is sufficient to power 5,000 households, and the wiring used will reach Kashi from Kochi, he said. He said that INS Vikrant is a living embodiment of the spirit of the Panch Prans that he proclaimed from the ramparts of the Red Fort.
स्वतंत्रता दिवस पर मैंने लाल किले से पंच प्राण का आह्वान किया। इन पंच प्राणों में पहला प्राण है विकसित भारत का बड़ा संकल्प, दूसरा प्राण है गुलामी की मानसिकता का संपूर्ण त्याग, तीसरा प्राण है अपनी विरासत पर गर्व, चौथा और पांचवा प्राण है देश की एकता, एकजुटता और नागरिक कर्तव्य। आईएनएस विक्रांत के निर्माण और इसकी यात्रा में हम इन सभी पंच प्राणों की ऊर्जा को देख सकते हैं.
Mr. Modi said the Indian Navy has got a new flag from today. Till now, the identity of slavery remained on the flag of the Indian Navy, but from today onwards, inspired by Chhatrapati Shivaji, the new Navy flag will fly in the sea and in the sky.
भारतीय नौसेना को एक नया ध्वज मिला है. अब तक भारतीय नौसेना के ध्वज पर गुलामी की पहचान बनी हुई. आज से छत्रपति शिवाजी महाराज से प्रेरित नौसेना का नया ध्वज समंदर और आसमान में लहराएगा. आज इसी ध्वज वंदना के साथ मैं ये नया ध्वज नौसेना के जनक छत्रपति वीर शिवाजी महाराज को समर्पित करता हूं.
The Prime Minister remarked that when Vikrant descends to protect our maritime zone, many women soldiers of the Navy will also be stationed there.
विक्रांत जब हमारे समुद्री क्षेत्र की सुरक्षा के लिए उतरेगा तो उस पर नौसेना की अनेक महिला सैनिक भी तैनात रहेगी. अभी नेवी में करीब 600 महिला ऑफिसर्स हैं, लेकिन हम इंडियन नेवी ने अपनी सभी शाखाओं को महिलाओं के लिए खोलने का फैसला किया है. जो पाबंदियां थी वो अब हट रही है. जैसे समर्थ लहरों के लिए कोई दायरे नहीं होते, वैसे ही भारत की बेटियों के लिए भी अब कोई दायरे या बंधन नहीं है.
He also mentioned the salute by indigenous cannons on this Independence Day. Similarly, if every citizen of India starts living the mantra of vocal for local, then it will not take long for the country to become self-reliant.
बूंद बूंद जल से जैसे विराट समंदर बन जाता है, वैसे ही भारत का एक एक नागरिक अगर वोकल फॉर लोकल के मंत्र को जीना प्रारंभ कर देगा तो देश को आत्मनिर्भर बनने में अधिक समय नहीं लगेगा. जब सभी देशवासी लोकल के लिए वोकल होंगे तो उसकी गूंज सिर्फ भारत में ही नहीं बल्कि पूरी दुनिया में सुनाई देगी.
Governor Kerala Arif Muhammad Khan, Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijayan, Union Ministers Rajnath Singh, Sarbanand Sonowal, V. Muralidharan, Ajay Bhatt, National Security Advisor Ajit Doval and Chief of Naval Staff R. Hari Kumar were among those present on the occasion.
Maharashtra Chief Minister Eknath Shinde today said that the new naval ensign presented by Prime Minister to the Indian Navy and indigenously manufactured INS Vikrant is a historic and golden moment. In a press statement issued by the Chief Minister's office, Mr. Shinde said that the commissioning of INS Vikrant is a tribute to the Maratha warrior king Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. He also congratulated the Indian Navy on the occasion. The Chief Minister said this is an important step for strong and Atmanirbhar Bharat. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is visiting South Kannada District Headquarters in Mangaluru today. During his visit, the Prime Minister will dedicate to the nation and lay the foundation stone for several projects of national importance. Before addressing a public function at Kulur Goldfinch City grounds, the Prime Minister will dedicate to the nation or lay the foundation for 8 projects worth 3,800 crore rupees.
Union Agriculture Minister Narendra Singh Tomar inaugurated the regional office of the Coconut Development Board at Junagadh in Gujarat today on the occasion of World Coconut Day. Mr. Tomar also virtually inaugurated the World Coconut Day celebration at Kochi in Kerala. Addressing the coconut farmers, the minister reiterated the government's commitment to enhance agricultural productivity in the country and increase the income of the farmers. He added that India is among the leading coconut-producing countries of the world, and in terms of productivity of coconut cultivation, India is positioned at number 1 in the world. Mr. Tomar said the regional office will give a major boost to coconut production in the state. He also urged farmers to adopt scientific methods and latest technology to increase their yield. The regional office will also provide monetary assistance to the coconut farmers. State Agriculture Minister Raghavji Patel and Member of Parliament Rajesh Chudasama were present on the occasion. Junagadh, Gir Somnath and Porbandar districts are the major centres of coconut production in the state. Coconut is grown in an area of nearly 25,000 hectares in the state. In Telangana, Union Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman today said the central government is spending 28 rupees over 1 kilo of rice for the poor under the Garib Kalyan Yojana. She asked the Kamareddy District Collector Jitesh V. Patil to make available the details of rice distribution to the people at the ration shop. She examined the way the rice is being distributed and interacted with beneficiaries at Veerkur in the district. The minister said the responsibility lies on the local authorities to inform about the government efforts behind the implementation of the scheme. She further said the state government is contributing only 3 rupees while the beneficiary is paying 1 rupee. She said the food grains are being distributed completely free and asked officials to inform this to the people.
Over 212 crore 75 lakh COVID vaccine doses have been administered so far under the nationwide vaccination drive. Over 22 lakh 40,000 doses were administered in the last 24 hours. The recovery rate is currently at 98.68%. Over 9,000 people recovered in the last 24 hours. Total number of recoveries have reached over 4 crore 38 lakh 55,000. Over 6,000 new cases were recorded in the last 24 hours. You are listening to the Midday News on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Prime Minister Narendra Modi commissions India's first indigenous aircraft carrier, INS Vikrant, in Kochi, Kerala. Also unveils new naval ensign befitting the rich Indian maritime heritage. Prime Minister says INS Vikrant an example of government's thrust to making India's defence sector self-reliant and tribute to the rising spirits of India. Prime Minister dedicates projects worth around 3,800 crore rupees at Mangaluru in Karnataka. Union Agriculture Minister Narendra Singh Tomar inaugurates Regional Office of Coconut Development Board at Junagadh on World Coconut Day. India and UAE reiterate commitment to achieve goal of $100 billion of bilateral trade in the next 5 years. Home Minister Amit Shah to reach Thiruvananthapuram this evening on a 2-day visit to Kerala. In Gujarat, 6 persons killed and 6 injured after car mows down a group of devotees. United States says UN report on human rights violations in China's Xinjiang province reaffirms that Beijing is committing genocide against the Uyghurs. And in Japan Open Badminton, Aegis Prannoy loses to Taiwan's Zhou Tian-chan in a grueling encounter in the quarterfinals. For quick news updates around the clock, follow us on a Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts.
मुट्ठी भर अंग्रेज और हमारे विशाल देश पर राज करने का स्वप्न देख रहे हैं, पर हम इनके स्वप्न को चकनाचूर कर देंगे।
निकल पड़े स्वाधीनता के पथ भाले, स्वतंत्रता संग्राम की सुनी अनसुनी कहानियों के साथ स्वराज हर रविवार रात 9 बजे डीडी नेशनल पर।
कंपटीशन की अगर आप कर रहे हैं तैयारी, तो उनके लिए ऑल इंडिया रेडियो पर हम लाए हैं अभ्यास, एक ऐसा कार्यक्रम जिसमें आप पूछेंगे सवाल व्हाट्सएप नंबर 9289094044 पर, या फिर ईमेल करेंगे abhyas.airnews@gmail.com पर, और हमारे विशेषज्ञ देंगे इसका जवाब। आपका अभ्यास हमारा प्रयास।
Welcome back to the Midday News. India and the UAE have reiterated commitment to achieving the goal of $100 billion of bilateral trade in the next 5 years. Both the countries have also noted the possibility of linking instant payment platforms such as through the United Payment Interface of India. These issues were discussed in the 14th India-UAE Joint Commission meeting, which was co-chaired by External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar and Foreign Minister of UAE Sheikh Abdullah bin Zayed Al Nahyan in Abu Dhabi yesterday. 2 MOUs were signed between both sides in the presence of the ministers. One MOU was signed between Wildlife Institute of India and International Fund for Hobara Conservation for the conservation of the Great Indian Bustard and the Lesser Florican. Another MOU was signed between the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation of the UAE and Indian Council for Cultural Relations on the establishment of the India-UAE Cultural Council Forum. During the 14th India-UAE Joint Commission meeting, both the ministers expressed their satisfaction at the continued high growth trajectory of bilateral relations between the two nations. Both the ministers also noted the cooperation between the two countries in various multilateral forums and international organizations, particularly in the UN Security Council in 2022. They also expressed happiness on the landmark Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement between India and the UAE, which was signed in February this year. Both the ministers emphasized the importance of promoting startups and entrepreneurship in different fields such as fintech, edutech, health tech, agri-tech, logistics and supply chains. UAE Foreign Minister appreciated the contribution of the Indian community to UAE's progress and development, while External Affairs Minister thanked UAE leadership for taking care of the Indian community. Our correspondent reports that the bilateral relations between India and the UAE have strengthened in all sectors in recent years. Both sides have collaborated closely during the COVID-19 pandemic in critical areas of healthcare and food security. The two sides are also strengthening their cooperation in new areas of renewable energy, startups and fintech. The UAE is India's third largest trade partner. Around 35 lakh Indians live in the UAE and play a major role in the economic development of the UAE. Home Minister Amit Shah will arrive in Thiruvananthapuram this evening on a 2-day visit to Kerala. Tomorrow morning, the Home Minister will address the 30th meeting of the Southern Zonal Council at Kovalam, near the capital city. Besides Kerala Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijayan and his counterparts from Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh and Telangana, administrators of Union Territories of Andaman and Nicobar Islands, Lakshadweep and Puducherry will also participate in the meeting.
In Gujarat, nearly 6 persons were killed and 6 others injured after a car mowed down a group of devotees in Aravali district this morning. The accident took place near Krishnapur village in Malpur taluka of Aravali. According to police, the devotees were heading towards Ambaji temple on foot to attend Bhadarvi Poonam fair. Chief Minister Bhupendra Patel has expressed deepest condolences to the families of the victims. Mr. Patel announced an ex gratia grant of 4 lakh rupees for each deceased from the CM's Relief Fund and 50,000 rupees for the injured. The Chief Minister has asked Aravali District Collector to ensure necessary medical treatment to the injured. In Tamil Nadu, a 2-member justice panel of the Madras High Court cancelled the judgment of a single judge which declared the General Counsel of the AIADMK null and void. The appeal was heard today by the bench consisting of Justice M. Duraisamy and Justice Sundar Mohan. Following the judgment in the appeal, Edapadi Palaniswamy continues to be the interim General Secretary of the party. It is to be noted that he had earlier expelled former Chief Minister O. Paneerselvam and his supporters from the party.
Jharkhand Governor Ramesh Bais left for New Delhi today amid the ongoing political turmoil in Jharkhand. Sources said that Governor Ramesh Bais may meet Union Home Minister Amit Shah during his visit. On the other hand, the 30 UPA MLAs of the ruling party are currently staying at the Mayfair Hotel in Raipur, Chhattisgarh. A delegation of the ruling party visited the Governor House yesterday and urged the Governor to clarify soon about the situation on the Office of Profit case on Chief Minister Hemant Soren. A memorandum was submitted to the Governor to this effect. Meanwhile, the Hemant Soren-led coalition government in the cabinet meeting has called for a special session of the Jharkhand Legislative Assembly on the 5th of September. It may move a confidence motion in the special assembly session to prove its majority. The Indian Meteorological Department has said there is no sign of early withdrawal of monsoon in the country. Talking to AIR News, senior scientist R.K. Jenamani said the month of September may see excess rainfall in different areas.
India has received normal or above normal rainfall except Jharkhand, Bihar and Uttar Pradesh where the rainfall is deficient. All these states like Karnataka, Kerala, Tamil Nadu have got excess or normal rainfall. Also Gujarat, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Odisha, they got normal to excess rainfall. September forecast we have told that it will be above normal. September rain continue to show deficient over parts of Bihar, Uttar Pradesh and Jharkhand also. Main heavy rainfall and very heavy rainfall is over Karnataka and this peninsular India will continue to have a rainfall next 3 to 4 days. But monsoon is reviving from 6 or 7 September.
Over the past 75 years since independence, India's largest public service broadcaster, All India Radio, has been the proverbial storyteller for the 1.3 billion citizens across the country. All India Radio is celebrating 75 years of freedom with a series, Azad Bharat Ki Baat, Akashvani Ke Saath. It showcases the journey of India since independence in various walks of life through the storytelling of All India Radio.
आजाद भारत की बात आकाशवाणी के साथ, reliving the journey of India since independence over the last 75 years with All India Radio. From 15th August, the series is being broadcast on All India Radio, 100.1 FM Gold Channel, primetime news bulletins and across all its platforms. Tune in to stay updated with All India Radio.
In today's episode, we bring you the story of the Bharatratna awardees from 1966 to 1990.
The highest civilian award in India is the Bharatratna Award, which was instituted in the year 1954. It is awarded for exceptional public service and performance of the highest order in any field of human activity. This award is presented by the President of India. So far, 48 eminent personalities have been honored with the Bharat Ratna. In 1966, Lal Bahadur Shastri, who was the second Prime Minister of India, was conferred on the honour posthumously. In 1971, first woman Prime Minister of the country, Indira Gandhi, was given the award. In 1975, V.V. Giri, trade unionist and former president, was honoured with the award. In 1976, the award was conferred upon K. Kamaraj, freedom fighter and former Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, posthumously. In 1980, Mother Teresa, founder of the Missionaries of Charity, was honoured. In 1983, Acharya Vinoba Bhave, social reformer and close associate of Mahatma Gandhi, was awarded posthumously.
When they lose contact with nature, जिन राष्ट्रों का परिचय रहा नहीं आसपास की कुदरत के साथ, वो नेशंस क्षीण होते हैं, उनका क्षय होता है, ये इसका अर्थ है। इस वास्ते खेती के साथ, निसर्ग के साथ संबंध रखना अत्यंत आवश्यक है। इस सिलसिले में वेद में एक वाक्य है, वेद के वाक्य का अर्थ यह है कि सृष्टि में होना चाहिए सौंदर्य और समाज में होना चाहिए सौजन्य।
In 1987, independence activist Khan Abdul Ghaffar Khan was the first non-citizen to be given the Bharat Ratna Award. In 1988, M.G. Ramachandran, actor and former Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, was conferred upon the award posthumously. In 1990, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, the father of the Indian Constitution and social reformer, was awarded posthumously. Dr. Nelson Mandela, leader of the anti-apartheid movement, and President of South Africa, was given the award in the same year.
Your Royal Highness, distinguished guests, comrades and friends, today all us do, by our presence here and by our celebrations in other parts of our country and the world, confer glory and hope to newborn liberty. Out of the experience of an extraordinary human disaster that lasted too long, must be born a society of which all humanity will be proud. Our daily deeds as ordinary South Africans must produce an actual South African reality.
In tomorrow's episode, we will bring you the story of the Bharat Ratna awardees from the year 1991 to 1999. Azad Bharat Ki Baat Akashvani ke saath can be accessed on at AIR News Alerts on Twitter, News on AIR official YouTube channel, News on AIR app, Facebook and Instagram handles. So tune into All India Radio News for Azad Bharat Ki Baat Akashvani ke saath.
Moving on, in the United States, Secretary of State Antony Blinken said yesterday that a long-awaited UN report on human rights violations in China's Xinjiang province reaffirmed Washington's view that Beijing is committing genocide against the Uyghurs. Mr. Blinken said the United States welcomes the important report. He said this report deepens and reaffirms US's grave concern regarding the ongoing genocide and crimes against humanity the Chinese government authorities are perpetrating against Uyghurs. The UN report detailed a string of rights violations, including torture and forced labor against Uyghurs and other mostly Muslim minorities, infuriating Beijing. The assessment from the Geneva-based UN Human Rights Office largely corroborated earlier reporting by researchers, advocacy groups, and the news media. In Argentina, a man attempted to shoot Vice President Cristina Kirchner near her home in Buenos Aires yesterday. Ms. Cristina Fernandez de Kirchner was greeting supporters outside her home when a man emerged from the crowd and pointed a handgun in her face. President Alberto Fernandez said the gun was loaded with 5 bullets but failed to fire when triggered. The assailant, who authorities identified as a 35-year-old man of Brazilian origin, was quickly arrested and the weapon was seized.
The International Monetary Fund, IMF, has agreed to provide a $2.9 billion extended facility to Sri Lanka for a 4-year period with conditions on debt restructuring and action on corruption. The move comes after a week-long discussion between the IMF and Sri Lankan authorities. The IMF mission was led by Peter Brewer and Masahiro Nozaki, who were in the island nation from August 24th to September 1st. They extensively discussed IMF's support for Sri Lanka and the authorities' comprehensive economic reform program. The new extended facility will support Sri Lanka's program to restore macroeconomic stability and debt sustainability, IMF said in a statement. Facing the worst ever economic crisis, Sri Lanka is going through skyrocketing inflation, dollar crunch and devaluation of the local currency, mainly due to wrong financial decision making and extensive loans obtained for many white elephant projects. The Sensex and the Nifty today witnessed gains in the afternoon trade. Both stock indices rose even as the cues from other Asian share markets were negative. The Sensex was trading above 58,900 level, while the Nifty was trading near 17,600 points. The Sensex gained 185 points or 0.31% to trade at 58,951. The Nifty was also trading 48 points or 0.27% up at 17,590 when reports last came in.
On to sports, India's H.S. Prannoy went down against Taiwan's Cho Tien-Chun in a grueling encounter in the quarterfinals of Japan Open Badminton Tournament by 17-21, 21-15, 20-22. Prannoy made a comeback in the final game, but it was not enough. The general body election of the All India Football Federation is taking place today. The election had been delayed due to multiple factors such as the delay in drafting the AIFF constitution and the pandemic outbreak until the Supreme Court of India intervened. However, the intervention did not go well and the global body FIFA banned AIFF on the 16th of August. Elections are being held for the posts of 1 president, 1 vice president, 1 treasurer, and 14 executive committee members. Bharatratna Award is contesting against the former Mohan Bagan and East Bengal goalkeeper Kalyan Chaubey for the post of AIFF president. The new AIFF dispensation will have lots on its plate, the foremost task among them being the smooth conduct of the FIFA Women's Under-17 World Cup in October.
In Asia Cup T20 Cricket, Pakistan will take on Hong Kong in the 6th match of the tournament at the Sharjah Cricket Stadium this evening. The match will begin at 7:30 p.m. IST today. So far on the international stage, Hong Kong has never faced Pakistan in the T20Is. These two teams belong to Group A and both of them have lost to India in the group stages. The winner of this game will proceed to the Super 4 stage. India has already qualified for the Super 4 stage of the tournament.
A quick look at the weather update for the day. National capital Delhi will have mainly clear sky, becoming partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening. Minimum temperature was 28. Maximum will be around 37 degrees Celsius. Mumbai will have generally cloudy sky with light rain. Chennai will have thunderstorm with rain. Kolkata likely to have partly cloudy sky with possibility of moderate rain or thunderstorm. And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi commissions India's first indigenous aircraft carrier INS Vikrant in Kochi, Kerala, also unveils new naval ensign befitting the rich Indian maritime heritage. Prime Minister says INS Vikrant an example of government's thrust to making India's defence sector self-reliant and tribute to the rising spirits of India. Prime Minister to dedicate projects worth around 3,800 crore rupees at Mangaluru in Karnataka. Union Agriculture Minister Narendra Singh Tomar inaugurates Regional Office of Coconut Development Board at Junagadh on World Coconut Day. India and the UAE reiterate commitment to achieve goal of $100 billion of bilateral trade in the next 5 years. Home Minister Amit Shah to reach Thiruvananthapuram this evening on a two-day visit to Kerala. In Gujarat, 6 persons killed and 6 injured after a car mows down a group of devotees. United States says UN report on human rights violations in China's Xinjiang province reaffirms Beijing is committing genocide against Uyghurs. In Japan Open Badminton, HS Prannoy loses to Taiwan's Cho Tien-chun in a grueling encounter in quarterfinals. And with that, we end the midday news.